Hello, gorgeous people. This week we have ingresses upon ingresses. We have Mercury entering Aries, the Sun entering Taurus, and do mine eyes deceive me? Or is Mars actually getting the fuck out of Cancer? This is it, boys. It's really happening. So join me. Let's break it all down. Before we talk through my favorite comments of the week, make sure to like and subscribe to my channel because it makes me feel all happy inside when you do. And if you're new here, this is my Monday morning coffee chat where we talk all through the astrology of the week using art, archetypes, spirits, stories, and the personal myths that you're already living. Thank you for joining me. Let's talk through some of my favorite comments of the week. In a previous episode, I talked about the astrology of mid 2024 through the present. I was talking about the Saturn Jupiter square across Pisces and Gemini. I was talking about Pluto's mean little regress back just to the 29th degree, well, the 30th degree, 29 Capricorn. I was talking about Venus and Mercury's retrogrades that have been happening from Venus's detriment back into Mercury's detriment and exile. I described the astro weather in a way a lot of my clients have been describing it, which is that we are feeling like crusty, crunchy, dried out, desiccated old tumbleweeds rolling across the desert. And Leslie Crowell says, crunchy, crusty, dried out, and desiccated. I feel so seen. Well, I'm glad I'm not the only one, but I'm also excited to be the harbinger and the bearer of the good news of the good times actually starting this week when Mars rolls out of Cancer. E. Wood, 1821, on one of my Instagram posts put, funny AI, so funny, so funny. I hate to break it to you, E. Wood. I am a real girl. I am a real girl. It's really morning. I've really got a cozy blanket on, really drinking my coffee, toxically flattered that you think I'm an AI. But I am a real girl. Also, I posted this lovely version of a meme, my own version of a meme, while thinking about how Saturn and Venus are acting towards us this month on Instagram. Saturn, Venus, they each have their hand on our back. They're saying, wait a minute, stay here, don't run away, don't go. We've got you. Have some grace for yourself, honor yourself. Make sure that you do everything you're doing this month with intention and with feeling. We've got you. And I got so many nice comments and DMs and people reaching out to me about this image. I wanted to share it here too. This is something to keep in mind as we're talking through the astrology of this week, knowing that next week, Venus and Saturn are conjoining together for the last time at Venus's degree of exaltation in Pisces. It feels so sweet. Next week, think about that. Think about where Saturn and Venus are showing up for you. All right, let's talk through the transits of the week from Monday, April 14th, all the way through Sunday, April 20th. We have a week that is packed with ingresses. Starting things off on Wednesday, Mercury enters Aries. Immediately will conjoin Neptune. On the 17th, we have Mars entering Leo, and for 2 days, Mars will be in the sun sign of Leo, and the sun will be in Mars' sign of Aries. That's a cute time we'll talk about later in the show when I tell you how I'm going to use the astrology of this week. On April 19th, the sun will enter Taurus, and this is setting up a square that the sun will form to Mars and to Pluto as they oppose one another across the Leo and Aquarius axis. At the same time, we have Mars trining Neptune in Aries. Throughout all of this, the moon moves from early Scorpio on Monday morning all the way through early Aquarius by Sunday night. This is an important thing to track because this is the part of the zodiac where the moon experiences the least dignity. All right, let's talk about all of these ingresses. Ingresses, of course, are when a planet changes signs moving forward. The planet is crossing a sign boundary into a new sign. And at the top of this week, Mercury enters Aries and will immediately conjoin Neptune at 0 degrees Aries. This is a really important moment here on April 16th because if we look at the astrology, we have the moon in Sagittarius, which is a fire sign. We have Neptune and Mercury conjunct in Aries, which is a fire sign. Both of those groupings in the fire signs are trining Mars in Cancer, which is actually a water sign. So when we think about the grand trine, it usually goes across the element. We would expect to see Mars in the fire sign. But what's happening is that, of course, by degree, Mars is implicated in this trine, even though it's in Cancer. They're all within 3 degrees of one another, which is what we call the orb or the range of where we look to see an exact engagement between planets. In this case, the aspect is the trine. There are some exceptions, of course, especially for the moon, which has a much wider orb. She moves so fast. So all of these planets are certainly in range of a trine with the moon. And this feels like the moon really integrating and working with the patterns and rhythms to bring Mars into Leo with gusto and speed and motion and fire. This trine is amplifying and compounding. Trines like to make small things big and make small efforts into outsized results. So, with Mercury conjunct Neptune and Aries, and with the moon involved, this could be a really good time to try to get to know that 0 degree of Aries. Because there is so much that's going on there, most significantly, we have the Saturn Neptune conjunction happening in February of 2026. That's happening at 0 degrees Aries. This is an important part of the chart. So if you are interested in this, if you have prominent Aries placements, if you felt something building in that Aries part of your life, whether or not you have those placements, this could be a really good time to tune in. Mercury is the herald and the messenger. And here at 0 Aries conjunct Neptune, which is a planet that is deeply connected to the collective unconscious, that's deeply gaseous and watery and foggy. And this could be a good time to step into that liminal space, 0 Aries, and find out what's in store for you in the future through ritual, through reflection, through meditation, through devotion. I could probably record a 45-minute sayonara to Mars in Cancer. I will spare you all. I am ready for this transit to end. I feel truly blessed by what Mars has brought into my life. Retrograding and camping out in Cancer all this time. I feel a new lease on my life, but I'm ready to get on with it. Okay, I've got the new lease, Mars. Let's go. I love this trine moment with the moon saying, all right, let's go with me. For that period of time after Mars enters Leo, but before the sun enters Taurus, it's from midday on the 17th of April through the 19th of April. The sun will be in Mars's realm of Aries, exalted, and Mars will be in the sun's realm, Leo. This is such a good time to really rev your engine or do a nice karate chop in your life if you have to. Really, it's giving hi-ya like Miss Piggy in this moment, if you will let me do that. It's a hi-ya. And it's really spurring us into action. So if you felt held back by Mars in Cancer, if you felt tired, if you have been listening to me talking about Aries, knowing that that part of our life is a tired leader that needs to step up, this is a good time to do some of that intentionally, to step forward, to actually start moving forward, to start summoning up that inner courage and that vitality, to sort of like let your spirit come back to the edges of your body. Like if your spirit has shrunk inside of you to a small flame, here's where you can call it up and say, okay, fill me up, fill up my body. I need to get back into action and I need to start accomplishing the things that I want to accomplish that I've been so tired and so waylaid from doing with the honestly nasty looking astrology of the last end of 2024 and the beginning of 2025. This is spring. This is defrosting. And when the sun enters Taurus on April 19th, this is going to start to feel a little sweeter. How does the sun in Taurus feel? The sun in Taurus is like honey dripping from a spoon in my mind. It is setting up something so important for us because this gorgeous Venusian sun, the sun in Taurus ruled by Venus exalted in Pisces, is so goddess energy. Taurus is ruled by Venus through domicile, but also by the moon through exaltation. So it is a lunar place and a Venusian place. And to have the sun there has this divine energy to it that is really reminding me of just the sweet, slow things in life, finding God in the everyday, finding the divine in the speed of honey sliding off a spoon into your delicious yogurt that you're having for breakfast. I have a couple references that come through for me for this. One is the music of Blood Orange, which is a project of Dev Hynes. Dev actually, I found out in thinking about this, has a Taurus moon, it seems. Although we don't have birth data for him, we do know his date of birth, and the moon would firmly have been in Taurus on that date. And this music is sensual, it is slow, it is meaningful, it is really evocative music that is so easily evocative. right? It inspires something in you the moment you hear it, even though I'm sure it inspires something slightly different for everybody who listens to it. This is reminding me particularly of the album called Cupid Deluxe. There are so many incredible songs on that album. But if you just put that album on and you vibe out, you might be feeling some pretty active Taurus vibes. This kind of also reminds me of that scene from the incredible, talk about evocative, movie Everything Everywhere All at Once that came out a couple years ago. In that movie, Waymond in an alternate universe is looking at Evelyn and says, you know, in another life, I would have just loved doing laundry and taxes with you. And it's totally heartbreaking. But that sentiment is so Taurus sun. I may hate on Tauruses for being slow, and I do. But I wish I could enjoy anything as much as a Taurus could enjoy doing taxes and doing laundry with a person that they truly love. I wish I could enjoy anything as much as Tauruses enjoy some random little sweet treat on a Friday that's just bringing joy into their life. Good for you, Tauruses, and happy Taurus season. But this week, at the end of the week, we end with the sun in Taurus squaring Mars in Leo. Now, usually when we see a sun-Mars square, that can look like tempers flaring, especially because Pluto is sweeping in to complete this. So Pluto and Mars will oppose one another next week, and the sun will be squaring each of them as it happens. So this feels like a tempering factor, actually. The sun is so much kinder here than it typically is because it's this Venusian expression of the sun. The sun is really calming things down. Mars has been deep undercover in the realm of the moon, irritated, uncomfortable, and now Mars emerges and is hot to trot, spurred on by that trine from the moon and from Mercury and Neptune in Aries. Mars is ready to rock here. And the sun is actually kind of like, whoa, 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 whoa. Don't get blood splatters on my bathrobe, okay? This aggression will not stand, man. And that's some foreshadowing for next week. This is a week where if you've been feeling really stuck, if you've been feeling really tired, we all have, right? I just have heard this from endless clients, from endless comments, from endless people on my Instagram, on my YouTube, in my inbox, in my client sessions, from my friends and my family. This is a place where the tides are definitely turning. Planets are moving direct again. We have Venus moving direct at this point, Mercury moving direct, and then coming back into Aries, moving forward. We have the sun moving into Taurus. This is where things actually do start moving and they feel like they're moving. What does it mean that we have so many ingresses going in 1 week? It feels like if you've been feeling stuck, if you've been feeling frustrated, if you've been feeling like you're being asked to stand in a liminal space or not make any decisions, this week maybe is one where you can circle on your calendar and say, hey, this is where things start moving. And not only do they start moving, but they feel like they're moving now, particularly around midweek, once the sun and Mars get in on the mix, because we have Venus stationed direct at this point, Mercury stationed direct, and they're moving forward again uninterruptedly. But now we have kind of all the planets on board, dignified, moving forward, getting action under their belts and moving us along. So how am I using this week? I love Mars. It's that simple. I have planets in Leo. I love Mars. I'm going to welcome him in. I'm going to do some lizard mode, sunning in the park. I'm going to eat oranges in the sun, especially for those 2 days from the 17th when Mars moves into Leo through the 19th when the sun moves in Taurus. I'm going to read some Orphic hymns. I'm going to try to summon up some vitality into my tired old bones, into my tired old Saturn parts. I'm going to drench them in light in this week, especially over those 2 days, and especially when the moon is in Sagittarius over the first part of those 2 days. Next week, I also have some deadlines for myself. I felt like the Mars-Pluto opposition was a really potent deadline setting opportunity for my ambitious goals. And I've made some ultimatums with myself on personal projects. So I'm going to be checking in and seeing where I stand with those. If I want to be pushing the gas pedal or accepting that I'm not going to clear this hurdle for myself. You know what that sound means? My coffee is over, so the show must be over. Thank you so much for joining me. Make sure to like and subscribe this channel. It brings joy into my dried out, desiccated, crunchy, crusty old heart when you do. I hope you guys are going to be using this week full of ingresses to gather momentum and speed. Make sure to comment on this video or reach out to me on Instagram for a chance to be featured in next week's show. Have a great week.